Welcome back to another week of Do the Damn Thing, Hip Cat Society's weekly show where we talk to entrepreneurs who are out there doing it and we figure out exactly how they did it and tap into their stories and their brains for just about 30 minutes. This week, I am very excited. We're switching up a little bit. We've had a lot of marketers and a lot of people building online communities. And this week, we're going to do a little healing. I am very excited to introduce Kina Hodges. Hi, how are you?
I am great. How are you?
I'm wonderful. I'm going to be better after talking to you. Kina is a holistic lifestyle coach. She teaches yoga. She teaches all sorts of fitness and well-being. And I'm very excited that you're here today. Let's talk a little bit about your story. So, how did you get started in all this? Because I know you were a college basketball player, right?
Yes, yes, yeah.
And how did
Played
you
college
parlay
basketball.
that into what you do now?
Yeah, so it's a very interesting journey. So I played college ball, and I knew that after college, I knew I didn't want a regular job. I didn't know that. I didn't know what I wanted to do in my life, but I knew I didn't want to work. And so an agent slid into my AOL. I'm showing my age now because I used AOL. Right? Just kind of slid into there.
Did we call it
And
sliding back then? I feel like it
no,
wasn't a sliding,
no, we
right?
just had
Ding,
it was like
ding,
an
ding.
AM chat, instant
Yeah.
message. It was AIM. And he's like, I have a contract for you. I'm like, okay, cool. And technically, I wasn't supposed to be talking to agents because I was still an athlete, but whatever. So fast forward, I moved to Sweden, played professional basketball there. It was great. And then came back to the US and got picked up by the Mystics, got cut by the Washington Mystics, got picked up by Semi Protein. And then life hit really fast because I got pregnant. And, like the money from that was not enough to really take care of me, let alone to take care of a child. So I got right into the workforce and started working. My mom owns an HR consulting firm, and she's like, hey, we could have a family business. And at the time I'm like, she's got benefits, this sounds great. And it and it ended up being not a family business. It ended up me working for my mom. So she owned the business and family work there. It was very, very different. And it had its challenges, and it had some great moments, but it definitely had its challenges. And after 5 years, I'm like, yeah, I need to make more money and have better benefits. And she's like, well, good luck, like trying to find it somewhere else. And I went and I found it somewhere else.
Right.
And, fast forward, so I'm like working, but I'm always attached to, my son is in sports, so I'm always attached to the sports part of it. And I became a personal trainer and a group fitness instructor. So I was teaching Zumba and doing personal training. And then in 2014, I was laid off from my HR job. And I said, you know what, I'm going to take my background, I'm going to marry the fitness part and the HR part, and I'm going to start a corporate wellness company.
Right.
And that's what I did. And I had clients that were my friends. And then after I went through my roster of HR friends, which wasn't that big at the time, I was like, I need more money. And I ended up back in corporate America because I didn't have a plan on how to actually sustain the business.
Right.
And so I still kept that on the side, but I still worked full time. So then, I knew the importance of nutrition, and then I got into yoga and then fell in love with yoga. And I'm like, yeah, I need to teach yoga. And then once you get to that point, it's like, yeah, I want to do more than just help clients look good. I want to help them feel good, but heal in a way that they are being their best version, like the best version of themselves. So that's really kind of how I started adding different modalities to my offerings, and
so
then
is
got
it
into the herbalism
mind,
space.
body, soul? I mean, do you do
Yes.
like spiritual wellness, all of it?
All of it. All of
Right.
it. Yeah, I do the full spectrum coaching.
And,
Yeah.
in order to become a coach, most coaches who I've spoken with had some sort of a mentor themselves. Did you find that you had someone coaching you that you modeled?
Not that I modeled. I do have someone coaching me now, but at the time I didn't. And so that was, I would say, one of the things that was like a pitfall for me, because I was trying to figure it out as I went along.
Yeah.
And I was so adamant about not talking to my mom about starting a business because she was an entrepreneur, but I was like, yeah, I don't want her help. Like, don't want to ask my
Do it
mom
on my
anything.
own.
And she was like, go out and do it on your own. I'm like, watch. I was always that kid. Watch me. So, there were some pitfalls I probably could have avoided if I had a mentor or a coach.
Yeah.
But now I definitely have that, but it's not in the wellness space. It's more in the how to get my business to a place that I can offer what I need to offer, but to attract the right type of customer and client that's going to pay, and to not have to invest all of my time and energy in it, so I can still live life. So
Right. Well, let's talk about that, because you've got
yeah.
5,000 followers on your Instagram page, which is a very respectable amount. What are some of the strategies you used to build that following?
Yeah, so one of them I used, and unfortunately they're not in business anymore, which sucks, was Social Captain.
Okay.
So, and they were like a growth bot, but more of a personalized growth bot. So you could set up your whole account and say, like, I want to send messages to people and comment on their posts, and they would do all of that. So that helped with some of the rapid growth. I mean, I had a very big network, which I didn't realize until, I started with that. But I do some AI stuff, and then I do some authentic stuff. So when people come and follow me, I respond back, and I follow them back. Typically, I'll shoot them a message to say thanks. I'm in a lot of different communities. I'm on a couple of Instagram pods. So, joining groups where, like, the rule of the group is every time someone posts, you have to go like their posts. You have to comment under the post.
I've never heard of that. What's an Instagram pod? How would I find? Well, how do you find and is everyone in your pod into the same niche that you're into?
Everyone's different. So I'm in two. So there's one we have about 80 in that pod, and then there's a couple hundred in another. So, right there, that's like 300 to 400 followers that you're going to get, because everyone has to follow each other.
And like 100 or so comments, right?
Correct. Yeah.
That's good.
So, it's always with Instagram, it's always trying to keep up with the changes in the algorithm, and it changes every 3 months. So, every quarter it's like hashtags are in, hashtags are not in.
Oh no, my favorite hashtag is banned. When did that happen?
Right. It's crazy. And so, with Instagram's new features that they roll out, that's the other way that I built it. So Reels are important now. Like, that's the new feature.
Yeah.
And they bless you, right, when you have Reels. So I did my first Reel, and I got 20 new followers in a day, just because I did a Reel in my kitchen making a protein shake. I mean, go figure. So, those were, some of the ways that I've grown it.
Yeah.
But it really has been organic up until the last 6 months, where I started using some additional artificial intelligence help.
Very nice. Well, we're looking at your Instagram page now, and it seems to be, there is a theme, and I see like a bit of a color palette that is pretty consistent here. Are those things that happened by chance, or is this something that you learned and then incorporated as part of your strategy because you found that it was working?
It's part of my strategy because I found that it was working. So, when you're starting a business, it's like you want to project yourself in the best way. You are fighting with this thought of, I need to spend the most money to have the best marketing and the best website and all of that stuff. And the reality is you have to start where you are and start where your budget is. So Canva is something that I use religiously.
Yes.
Canva Pro is like $10 a month. You can pay $70 for the year, something like that. And I do all of everything that you see that's posted is in Canva. I designed it in Canva.
Nice.
I came up with my, the colors that I liked. And honestly, there were other brands that I was like, ooh, I like that yellow, or ooh, I like that blue, or I like that shade of fuchsia or purple. And, there's a website where you can actually take a screenshot of a photo, upload it, and then it'll tell you what the Rex colors, the numbers are for those colors. So I just made a brand kit in Canva, and that's, what I follow. And so I have a system. Typically it's 4 photos or 4 photos, video combo, and then a graphic.
Yeah.
And typically, and that tends to be the algorithm for now.
Yeah. For today, it'll change
for today.
In 3 days. Very, very.
But it was very deliberate. Very deliberate.
Very cool. Now, one thing I noticed about you, which I think is unique for a yoga instructor, is you have lead magnets. You have things, that you've created, things of value that you offer to people as free. I'm assuming that some of them are free. I think I saw one that was free, your free e-guide today. So what motivated you to sort of create these free downloads for your community? Because it's not something I would think that most yoga teachers do, although maybe holistic lifestyle coaches would.
Mm-hmm. So, my business coach told me that, people have to have a minimum of 8 engagements or 8 touch points with you before they start to trust you.
Right.
And people are being sold all the time. And if you can give people just a little bit of your knowledge and give it to them for free, like it doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't cost me anything to help someone develop their meditation practice, or like teach, kind of give them a blueprint of where to start, right? It doesn't cost me anything to, tell someone how to transition to a plant-based lifestyle. Yes, that information is freely found on the internet. I took the time to kind of put it all together and add my experience with it, but it doesn't hurt me to do that. So people feel like, I've gotten emails from folks that they've gone through what's like an email funnel, right? A series, like my 8 series welcome emails, so to speak. And at the end of it, they're like, I feel like I should be paying you for what you gave me in your free resource library. Yeah. And that right there is like, it's building trust. So the moment someone signs up on my website and I'm like, hey, just go to the free resource library. I'm going to be updating that all the time. There's 6 or 7 things in there now.
Yeah.
And it's like, work through that. And then you work through that and you're like, yeah, okay, I need more. Yeah. And in order to get more, to get my time, then they're now willing to pay me, or at least, hop on a webinar or a masterclass to see what else there is that, they can benefit from.
Absolutely. I mean, some of the things that we sort of hang our hat on over at HipCat Society is generosity, service, providing value. So everything that you're talking about right now is just like music to our ears. We're like, yeah, she gets it.
Yeah.
One of the things that I found really interesting about you and your Unmasked brand is the level of vulnerability and openness that you have. I mean, you talk about being pregnant and homeless. Some of your story is just super, super personal, abusive relationships. What made you decide to share some of that stuff that, that's private stuff sometimes?
Yeah. People connect when they can have a Me Too moment with you. Not for the Me Too movement, but just where they can relate, right? They can be like, oh my gosh, you know what? Me too. I've been through that. And even with the Me Too movement, because I definitely did some interviews with that, that statement is one of empathy, right? And compassion. And it's like, I see you, I hear you, I relate. And so I believe, like, I can't show up and I can't be a coach and help people live authentically if I'm not willing to do it myself. Right. And so there has to be a level of transparency. And honestly, there's somebody that needs to hear my story. Like, I feel like it's selfish of me to go through what I've been through and keep it to myself. Right. So I'm like, yeah, I've been homeless. Yeah, I've been a professional athlete, but I've been homeless. I had the guy that everybody wanted, but everybody got him, and, I've been in that abusive relationship, but I'm thriving. I'm no longer just a survivor, but I chose to thrive after that. And here's how I did it. Yeah. And I can give somebody 5 steps, and here's some resources that I utilized that helped me. And I would never charge for that kind of I feel like that would be really, really wrong to charge somebody on how to get out of a situation like that.
Yeah. Wow. So, I mean, that's super powerful. And I love, thank you for sharing that with us today. And I absolutely love how you talk about that you can decide what you want to be, right? And it's all about the choices you make. And I guess, you're really helping people to make better choices.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
So when I went through my yoga teacher training, one of the books we read was Viktor Frankl's, what is it? Oh my gosh. Man's Search for Meaning. It's one of my favorite books, but he talks about the power to choose and how the choices that he made, the space between like stimulus and response saved his life, because Viktor Frankl was a Holocaust survivor. And basically what he's talking about is that everything that happens in life, you don't get to control what happens, but you definitely get to control how you respond to it. So the power is in the choice.
My therapist tells me that all the time.
Yeah, it's just like, you have the ability to choose how you want to respond, not react, but respond to things. And for me, it's really every day I choose to show up a certain way. I teach my son to choose to respond to the things that happen to him. And, it's a much healthier space to be in when you're not being pushed and ebb and flowing and you're like moving with the waves, but you're the stillness under the waves, because you're like, yeah, that will dissipate eventually. So for me,
That's a great
the power
visual.
to
I
choose.
like that. I like that a lot. Just for everyone watching, reminder, we are live on Facebook. So if you have a question, go ahead and enter it in the chat. In fact, we do have one question from Curtis.
Okay.
There's been a bunch of comments. People love your watch me comment, which you said to your mom, watch me. And so you'll see those
Yeah.
if you go back and watch. I don't think you can see them as they pop in live. I
Mm-mm.
can. But Curtis wants to know, you mentioned about an 8-month engagement or about 8 engagements before they trust you. Have you actually found that to be true, or do you think it takes a little more, a little less?
Well, it depends on what you're engaging them with. So for me, my first email sequence was actually 6, and by the 6th one, I'm asking them questions. Well, actually, in all 6, I'm giving them a little bit of me, and I'm asking them to share a little bit of them with me. And when they respond to that email, they're getting a response from me. I get every single email. So, if you're looking to grow your business, because really at this point, your email list is cash. Like the bigger your list is, the more money that you're going to make.
The list is
But
in
in
the
order
money, or the money's in the
yeah.
list.
But you actually spend a lot of time on email, and it's setting up the email, but it's also responding when people write you back. So they don't know that they're in a funnel. You
Right.
know that they're in a funnel, but when they write back, they need to get the authentic you. And so they'll respond. I mean, I share my story in 2 of those emails, and people will write back and just do that, like, yes, sister girl, encourage you thing, or they'll share, what, I'm in the same thing. What did you do? Or I did that, or I know someone, or whatever. And so now the conversation gets a little deeper. They're still getting the other emails, but now they're also getting Kina.
Right.
And by
Unmasked.
the end of, they're getting me unmasked. And then after that, it's like, okay, now I have, whether or not they buy anything from me or not, it doesn't matter at that moment. They're still on my email list because they see value in staying in contact with me.
Yeah.
So when I push out an event that I'm doing, or case in point, someone went through my funnel. She ended up buying an herbal tea blend for some ailments she had going on. I hadn't talked to her in weeks. She shot me an email. Hey, I've got a friend in Canada that's dealing with some health issues. I recommended you, and I connected with him, and now he's a client. So yes, I do find that it has worked, and there's value in that.
Awesome. And now you mentioned earlier there were some pitfalls that you fell into, and had you known now what you knew then, maybe you would have avoided some of those pitfalls. Would you mind sharing some of those with us, so
Sure.
that way other people don't step in the same
Yeah.
pothole?
I didn't have a savings. So, I was laid off. So I was a HR manager for a very large nonprofit, a global nonprofit organization in DC. So I was a little upset. I was actually really pissed off I got laid off. But, I knew what I wanted to do, but I hadn't really mapped it out.
Mm-hmm.
And so they say you should have, 3 to 6 months worth of savings saved up, so that, if something happens, yes, but also so that if the money dries out in the first 2 months, you're not like, dang, I can't live my dream. I now need to go back and work for somebody else and help them build their dream. So that was like the first big thing. I didn't have a game plan with that.
Right.
I didn't really have a business plan. I was like figuring it out as I went along. I was, okay, the business name together, and get the LLC registered, and that I did all of that. But, I was like commingling funds because, just don't, what you don't know, you don't know. So, that wasn't smart either.
Mm-hmm.
And, after my network dried out, then what? So I didn't have a plan on how to go out and get more business. And I didn't have a plan on how my business could still run or be automated to where it doesn't require me always have to be giving of my time and my energy. Like, how do I set it up one time and let it run without me and still generate cash flow? So those were the biggest pitfalls that I have since learned and corrected, so that I don't have to do that now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, automation is such a gift for marketers or businesses. I'm sure 10, 15 years ago, things took a lot longer and a lot more energy to make happen. Do you have certain tools that your business really needs to survive on?
Yes.
What are they?
ConvertKit is one. If you guys aren't using ConvertKit, it's like the lifeline of my business.
And that's your email platform, right?
That's my email platform, yeah.
So why do you like ConvertKit better? Because, I've used a bunch, but not that one. But so many people I talked to recently are like, ConvertKit. So what is it?
Yeah.
Tell me.
So ConvertKit is great, and I use that in conjunction with Zapier.
Yes.
So those two work together. But what I like about ConvertKit, and it's not that I dislike like Mailchimp or Constant Contact. I just like this integration a little better.
Okay.
But it does what I needed to do from the tags, and that's not just. And honestly, if I'm being totally honest, I haven't explored Constant Contact in depth the way that I did with ConvertKit. My business coach was like, ConvertKit. I was like, okay, I'm getting it. But and it works. But I definitely love that I can create these various automations, and I can pull information from different forms. If I have a Google Doc form and I want to pull that into an email funnel, I can do that. I can create broadcasts. I mean, it's very detailed for me. And I can see, who's clicking, where they're clicking in the email, if they clicked outside of it, if I got a sale from the click. Yeah, it's actually really thorough. And so I live and swear by ConvertKit and Zapier, those two together.
Little plug. I don't know if you're an affiliate, but maybe we'll get your affiliate link.
Yeah, I need to get my affiliate link.
Exactly.
My coach, if she's on here, she's gonna smack me for that. Like,
we'll put it in the description.
Okay.
Now, when I think about if I were to have a holistic life coach pre-COVID, I would think that that's someone who needs to be local to my area. So is most of your work and are most of your clients in the South Carolina area?
None of them are in South Carolina.
No,
None.
really? So
everyone's virtual.
And was your business plan virtual pre-COVID, or did you adapt?
I adapt. Like, you have to, as a business owner, you have to be able to pivot. Like, you have to be nimble, and you have to, what I call like recession proof your business. And now you have to pandemic proof your business.
Right.
And that was the thing, I was trading time for dollars, and that was really, really challenging, especially being a single mom with a kid that was traveling for basketball and stuff. So my initial business model was, teaching yoga and I'm like doing hands-on and, I'm doing personal training, but all of that was Kina standing there in front of you and taking you through something. And when I moved, I used to live in the Maryland, DC, Virginia area. So I was there for 33 years, and I just moved back to South Carolina a year and a half ago. So all my clients were like, so now what? I'm like, hey, I got you. It's virtual. And I had an app. I had the app before I moved, but, now they can log into their app, get their workouts, that kind of thing. And then, I missed teaching yoga. I missed the hands-on piece of yoga because there's just something about being in a room collectively and me being able to physically help you explore depths in a pose. But, we just get a little bit more colorful with our cues virtually and still have a very similar impact. But yeah, everything's virtual.
That's awesome. Well, congrats. I mean, if you're going to scale it,
Thank
right?
you.
That's what you got to do. You have to. You got a global audience. We have a question from Shannon. She wants to know, how do you end up scheduling and creating all of your content given you are so busy?
So I get up early and I stay up late, and that's just the reality of it because I don't have like a virtual assistant yet. So I plan out my content though. So it's I think about, okay, and I theme it, so it could be a Wellness Wednesday or a Travel Tuesday, Fitness Friday, something like that. And I just have folders that I use in Canva, and I repurpose content too. So I don't have to, you don't feel like you have to create like a new thought process every single day. Instagram rewards you if you post every single day. And there's some weeks where I can post every day.
Right.
And there are other weeks where I might only post twice. But, I definitely repurpose the content. And I am up early doing that because, again, I'm designing the stuff in Canva, or I'm doing color corrections using Lightroom.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. And then, Instagram has time. So you look at the analytics of your account, the insights on Instagram, you can see when the majority of your followers are online. And then I post during those time periods.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to. One of the things that we tell people is, if you've got one video, you can transcribe it. There's cheap places to get transcription work done. Rev.com is one that we
Mm-hmm.
know of. Boom, you got a blog.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Right.
you take a still and promote the video, and boom, there's a social post. You have to figure out ways to
Right.
multi-purpose and repurpose your content. Because,
That's right.
we got dogs. You have a Great
Yes.
Dane. I'm sure it's time
Yes.
consuming. We got
Yes.
kids and lives and
Right.
things to do. So those are some really great tips. We've got another question here from Lori. She wants to know what challenges we kind of talked about the benefit of going virtual. What challenges has 2020 and coronavirus brought to the holistic healing and coaching industry?
It's always about the need. Like there's a need for what we do, but can people afford to pay for what we offer,
Right.
particularly during a pandemic? And you want to, so I've had to decide what I'm willing to give away for free, what I'm willing to do at a discount, and what I'm not willing to budge on.
Right.
And create different packages and offerings for that. So for my business, for example, there are folks that are like, listen, I don't know what to do. I know I don't want to get COVID, or if I get COVID, I don't want to die from it. Right. And it's like, okay, well, the two things that you have to focus on would be your respiratory system and your immune system. So what are two things that Kina can create for people that's accessible for them to be able to start to be their own wellness advocate? So that's what I did. I created 2 herbal blends and put those on the site, and they're relatively inexpensive.
As a COVID survivor, I wish I had that herbal blend, because my chest was pounding for a good week. So.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You can. I will just give me your info. I will send you the respiratory tea blend as a thank you for having me on your show. But yeah. So there's that, and that's something that it doesn't cost me a lot to make it, so it doesn't cost me a lot to sell it. Now, for folks that want a little bit more, then like, okay, I have another level. And, so you have to kind of create levels in your business. So you have the free offerings,
right?
And that's to give things away, and that's to build the trust. And then maybe you do a masterclass, and then, you have like, it's the product launch formula. That's what I use. So as you add products and increase value, then I increase the price. But there's something for everyone with my business model.
So, I mean, you described really like, the value ladder and and the funnel where, there's upsells and downsells, I'm assuming, and the offer stack. Right. I mean, all of these words, there's different terminology for it, but we're kind of talking the same language. Yep. So HipCat Society actually builds funnels for clients. We do like lead gen funnels, a tripwire funnel, all these different kind of funnels. But do you have a service that you use to create your sales funnels? And I'm talking about the actual websites and stuff. Or what platform do you use?
I've been doing my own stuff. So
you go, girl.
Yeah. So I need to talk to you about that too when we finish. Yeah. I mean, like my website right now is hosted in Wix. I'm building a new one in Squarespace because I can do more with it.
Yeah.
So, and then I've just been using the ConvertKit. So I don't have a whole lot of different systems that I'm using yet.
Right.
But I'm always open to that, because anything that gives me back my time.
Absolutely. Well, girl, we will streamline your landing pages for you.
Yes.
Well, it's true, because, as you scale and as you grow, as with all businesses, there's a need to sort of offload certain tasks so you can really live in your area of excellence, which is creating the programs and and being the coach, and then all that other, like, I'm gonna build a landing page. Let somebody else do that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's something that you've learned as you've grown. Like you said originally, you're like, watch me, I'm gonna do it all myself.
Yeah. And then I'm like, no, elevate to delegate, right? So.
Exactly. Elevate to delegate. That's going to be my new tagline. I'm going to tell my boss.
Yeah. Well, and
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Oh, I love to say I've purchased like, there are people that sell like these Canva templates, like already made templates for like, $17. Everyone's got a $17, $27, or $37 something they're selling. And I have bought those because it does help me from the creative perspective as well. So if you're trying to figure out like, I want to launch a course or whatever, there are 1,000,001 folks out there that are selling like those types of templates.
Sure.
That you can, as long as you want to take the time in Canva, you can create anything you want. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, there's so much help out there these days. So many great sites that will give you resources for cheap, if not free. So people definitely need to be taking advantage of those. And we are out of time, which is a bummer because I'm having so much fun. But I want to give you an opportunity to tell everybody where they can find you, how they can become your client, and learn more all about you.
Okay, yeah. So the best way to reach me is through Instagram. I'm on Facebook, but not on Facebook. So Instagram is Kina, Kena _unmasked.com. I'm not .com, just Kina _unmasked. And then my website is she'sunmasked.com. That's my brand, and that's pretty much where everything that I do is there, and I'm updating that too. So definitely minimally join the email list so that you can stay up to date with all the changes that are happening and the things that I'll be offering, because I am launching a new community too. So there's work with that. And then if you just want to learn a little bit about me and who I am, you can go to KinaHodges.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. If you need help redoing your website, you let me know.
Okay.
And it's been really fun talking to you. I wish you nothing but the best. And everyone, head on over to all of those various places to learn more about Kina. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Bye.